Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's March 29th, 2017. One of the big news stories: Donald Trump has the power today to sign legislation that will make it so internet service providers can take their customers' web browsing history information and sell it for profit. Something you should know: this is already going on. This has been going on. So, no matter what the news is today, whether Trump decides to sign for it or against it, understand this news is deception. This is already going on. This is just putting the truth in front of our face. And I want to go back a decade before we get into today's news. There's a lot of important information to today's news. But I want to go back a decade to when Barack Obama was running for president, 2008. When he was on the campaign trail, the big issue for the federal Congress was immunity for the telecommunication companies, the same companies that control our phones, our internet. It had turned up that they were collecting and holding our information. And a debate occurred. Was this a violation of our constitutional rights, secretly collecting and holding our information, or was it fair that these companies were doing this in the wake of 9/11, in the era of the Patriot Act, in the name of security? And the Congress said, well, we'll have a debate and then we'll vote on immunity for these companies. Should these companies have immunity from prosecution for violating constitutional rights? Barack Obama, as a constitutional lawyer on the campaign trail, said again and again that these companies could not receive immunity because they had violated the law and they needed to be held accountable. Well, when it came time for him to vote as a U.S. Senator, he voted the exact opposite of his rhetoric. He voted for immunity along with his fellow Congress members, and immunity was given to these companies. They were violating our rights, collecting our information, holding on to it. And now look, a decade later, it's being put in front of our face that this same information they're now selling and making money on. This is what the police state's all about: making money off of incarcerating people, spying on them, intimidating them. This is the world we live in. This is the world President Eisenhower warned about when he talked about the military-industrial complex, a monster that could grow to proportions we could not understand, that would have negative consequences on our life. So anyway, here's Donald Trump with the power to make this a profitable business, spying and keeping the data of Americans. And I've been calling Donald Trump President Police State for a year and a half, because on the campaign trail he said we need to legitimize torture, we need to bring back stop and frisk for police, police need to have the right to use their intellect to make judgments, to just stop people, investigate them. Donald Trump is saying we need a legitimized police state. And now here he is with the power to make it more profitable. Think about this man, a man born with a silver spoon in his mouth, who's used bankruptcy, which takes the money of relatively poor taxpayers, to keep his failed enterprises afloat. And now this man's the president, with a house of cards economy. So this headline, I decoded it. The language of gematria. CNN, mainstream outlets, they code their headlines with numbers that have meaning. And when I decoded this headline, I had instant deja vu about Facebook. Then I read the article, and it even mentioned Facebook. It said the federal government is now trying to do what Facebook did years ago. Facebook got scrutiny for taking their members' information and selling it for profit, but Facebook said we have the right to do that because we're a private company. People signed on the dotted line, they checked the box that they wanted to be members, that they gave up their information and the rights to us. So the federal government is now arguing that they're like Facebook, that they have the right, to allow these private companies to take information and make profit off it. Or the federal government's essentially making the argument that these private companies, such as Comcast and Cox and all the other major internet service providers, have the right to sell the information. As we move along in time, it's becoming more and more clear that there's no separation between the private world, the public world, the government world. And I want to remind you about the gematria of the United States of America and corporation. It's not a coincidence. Corporation has gematria of 144, this very special number in this language, just like the United States of America. The United States of America has always been a business. It is a military enterprise, the United States of America, which is very much related to prison and incarceration and controlling through power, through force. So this headline, what's coded into it is 205, which is a number relevant to Israel. When you lose the zero, it's 25 like Trump. And this headline's about the fate of the internet and people's private data being in the hands of Donald Trump, President Police State. With regards to Israel and the internet and the police state, Mark Zuckerberg, the face of Facebook, which has been leading this agenda, he has the same birthday as the date Israel officially became a nation, May 14th. He was born in 84, Israel 1948. Regarding 84, what's coded into his name and his year of birth, very special number, very relevant number. There's a book called 1984 by George Orwell, written after World War II, about a future police state, a surveillance state where people are ruled over by screens and lies and propaganda and intimidation. It's very much like the modern United States of America or Western world. United States of America 84, just like Masonry, just like Zionism. Special number. And again, Mark Zuckerberg shares the birthday with Israel, the Masonic Zionist nation. Now, in the book 1984, there's something called Big Brother, which is this metaphor for the government and it keeping tabs on the people, watching over the people, the watchful eye. Big Brother has gematria 58, like net neutrality. We recently saw the 322-page net neutrality bill. Mark Zuckerberg, when he began his Facebook empire, when he was becoming a new celebrity, he did this interview. I'm going to link this blog post. This is my 203rd video I ever made. It's a little more than 10 years ago now. I think it was 2005. Mark Zuckerberg did this interview, and the woman who's hosting the interview, she asks him to take off his hoodie sweatshirt and show us what's inside. And you know, you have to imagine that they planned this before, but maybe not. Mark Zuckerberg gets really uncomfortable. He starts sweating heavily. You know, his voice gets shaky. He starts asking silly questions to stall. But he ends up taking off the hoodie, and he shows the inside. And, you know, you have to wonder, I mean, how could the woman know that something was inside the sweatshirt? But he shows the inside of the sweatshirt, and he explains that their company's secret logo and mottos on the inside. It's this exact symbol right here. The YouTube play button's kind of in the way, but if you look, you can tell it's a 6-pointed star behind the button. This is exactly what's on the inside of Mark Zuckerberg's sweatshirt. You can look up this logo. 6-pointed star known as the Seal of Solomon or the Star of David, which is the flag for Israel. The motto is making the world more open and connected, but the question becomes making the world more open and connected for who? And there's been numerous quotes from our own intelligence services in the United States about Facebook. The CIA's on the record saying collecting, you know, people's information when they need to find stuff has never been as easy as it was before Facebook. So easy to find out where people were, when, who they were with. So just think about all this. Look at what happened in this world. Cell phones, late 90s, right? We got these cell phones that have now evolved into these fancy computers. But from the beginning, the cell phones have had cameras on them. You know, even the base model cell phones at the end of the 90s, a lot of them had cameras. So we got these phones that could track us, that had cameras. Next thing we knew, we got September 11th. You know, then we got the Patriot Act. All of a sudden, the laws of the land were that all these things could collect information, and as time's gone on, it's got worse and worse. You know, more extreme. Here we are a decade later, they're now making money off collecting the information on us. You know, I thought this was about keeping us safe from the terrorists. Now it's about corporate profits. Anyway, all of this stuff came together. The cell phones, September 11th, the evolution of the cell phones. Facebook launched in the beginning of the 2000s. Think about how many of the world's people are on Facebook, and it all comes together. The surveillance, the technology, the cameras. So anyway, on the inside of Mark Zuckerberg's sweatshirt, the Seal of Solomon, the Star of David, having much to do with Israel. We have this Israel-coded headline. This stuff is interrelated. It's interesting that the motto, making the world more open and connected, has gematria 555. Think about the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., the head of the federal government. There's the 555-foot-tall Washington Monument. There's also 111 feet below ground. Do the math on that. 666 total feet. But 555 above ground. It sits across from the Pentagon, which is 5-sided with 5 floors above ground and a 5-acre court in the middle. 555, 5 the number of creation, symbol of the new world order. The word new ends the 14th letter. 1 plus 4 is 5. E, the 5th letter. W, the 23rd. 2 plus 3 for 23 is 5. So N becomes 5, E5, W5, new 555. This is the New World Order agenda. The New World Order is all about control the masses. And what better way to do that than with surveillance, monitoring, collecting information? We're getting to the larger theory of this agenda and the purpose. So anyhow, what we've established so far is that there's this Masonic Zionist component to the police state, and that should come as no surprise. If you know the Illuminati, if you know the New World Order, you know it's Masonic, you know it's Jewish or Zionist. You know, this whole gematria, numbers and words, is a Masonic Jewish practice. And of course, Freemasonry based in the history of ancient Israel, the 39 books of the Old Testament. A lot of overlaps between Freemasonry and Judaism. So with regards to the Seal of Solomon, again, Solomon's Temple, ancient Israel history, Freemasonic history, they say Solomon's Temple, the layout for Masonic lodges, Solomon's Temple 58, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, Facebook 58, Net Neutrality 58, Big Brother 58. Think about it. The numerology of 58 is 5 plus 8 equals 13. And then you can take it a step further. 1 plus 3 equals 4. 13 is a special number. 13. When you log into Facebook, they show the 13 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. Special number to this nation. 13 stripes, 13 colonies, 13 years of public school programming. CIA in gematria sums to 13. CIA in gematria also sums to 68. If you've never seen my work on 1968 and 911 and the planning of the police state, understand this. In 1968, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, World Trade Center construction began, and George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. All in 68, George H.W. Bush's family is responsible for the CIA. It was his grandfather, Prescott Bush, the senator, who created the early workings that made the CIA, which was enacted as a real thing by the 33rd President Truman. It was George W. Bush's father, George H.W. Bush, that was the head of the CIA before becoming vice president to Reagan and then president himself. So anyway, CIA 68, George W. Bush graduates in 68. His birthday, July 6th, is a span of 68 days from September 11th. Again, 911 made the national emergency dialing code that year. World Trade Center construction began. George W. Bush graduated. Also, Space Odyssey 2001 came out, which is a movie about technology overtaking man Think about this in terms of the security police state, the computers, the cameras, the internet, today's news. That was 33 years later. 33 years from 68 to 2001. 911. Let me just show you this so you can appreciate this. We're going to be talking about 33 in a moment. 911 is the 156th prime number. When you write out 33, it sums to 156. 33 years later, September 11th is New Year's Day of the Coptic calendar. Notice the 66. Coptic equals 66. That's the Old World Christian calendar. It also has the 33 connection. When you count every number 1 through 11, it sums to 66. New York's the 11th state. The World Trade Centers were massive 11s. The first flight to hit the buildings, flight AA11. A is the first letter, 1111. Hit the big 11s on the 11th day in the 11th state. On New Year's Day of the Coptic calendar, the Old World Christian calendar. Also, what you should know, the reason Solomon's temple is up there is 68 is because of this right here. There's a Jewish holy day called Tisha B'Av, and it's spelled just like this. Tisha B'Av has Jewish gematria of 911. It's about remembering the destruction of the two temples and the two pillars, Boaz and Jachin, the two temples, the two pillars, the two towers on September 11th, Tisha B'Av, the remembrance of the destruction of the two towers, 911. The point is, it's all part of a planned, ongoing agenda. This agenda is older than 1968. It's older than this nation. I'm just trying to let you see that an agenda by the numbers is a very real thing. It predates this nation. And right now we're talking about this specific component, putting the final touches on the police state, making money off us while they spy on us, while they incarcerate us, while they hold us down. You know, government, money, religion, media, it's all used to control the masses. If you've never seen my video on Solomon's Temple on September 11th, I put that out recently. Check it out. Life-changing information, essential knowledge. We were talking about the 13, the symbolism, the relevance to this country, the CIA, the login to Facebook. Some more information. The camera and Facebook, they go together, right? This is all about the information age, taking pictures with your camera, uploading it to the internet, having it show up on your Facebook, letting people know in real time who you're with, who you're hanging out with. Camera equals 41, also like Facebook, also like USA, which is the 13th prime. 41 and 58 both have relationships with 13. Absolutely important numbers to the history of this nation, even the name of this nation. United States has this gematria of 58. Very Masonic nation. So today, the day of this news, Donald Trump with the ability to sign off. It is March 29th, the 88th day of the year. Very special number. Jewish equals 88. So does Trump. And they've joked that Trump's the first Jewish president because all of his children have married into Jewish families. Today is also a date with 42 numerology. Internet equals 42. That's what's at the forefront. Web browsing information for sale. Internet 42, just like computer, just like net, just like Freemason, just like Zionism. And with regards to the internet, it's a product of the military. The military serves a purpose, right? War. War has this gematria of 42, just like World War. Think about this internet popular radio station, InfoWars, led by Alex Jones, who's born on February 11th, the 42nd day of the year. The name Alex Jones has the gematria of 33 and with the S exception also 42. Information. Collecting information. The type of war that we are all involved in It's a spiritual war. It's a war of freedom. It's a war of our future. We have a war being waged against us, whether we realize it or not. And that war is on the quality of our life. You know, our elected government, what they have been doing nonstop is infringing on the quality of our life. You know, making it so that we can't even know what's in our food. We have toxins in our food we can't know about. They're making it so that private companies can collect our information and do who knows what with it. You know, this is a war. And we need to recognize that, and we need to fight back in the smartest way we can. Think about what the future will be. We've been foretold in Disney films such as Wall-E, or was that Pixar? Doesn't really matter. The fat people on the chairs watching the screen, they press the button for red or blue for what kind of goop they want to eat for the day. This is where we're going. You know? Constant entertainment to distract us while our quality of life deteriorates around us. I grew up in a day and age when children still played in the park. You go to parks these days, it's almost as if children are extinct. So anyway, today, 42 numerology, that special number to the Freemasons relevant to the internet and computer. With regards to online, the federal government has made a lot of moves in recent years to have more control over what happens online. They have the internet kill switch. We've given the federal government the right to shut down the internet. Think about that. The internet, you know, it was made by them. It was made by the military industry. But at the same time, it's been given to us, and it creates a lot of real positive things in our world. I've been able to do my research only because of the internet. What I have revealed to the world, only possible because of the internet. You know, I was born at the right place and time with the right mind to do what I'm doing. So, there's a good side, there's a valuable side. And that side we've given the government to take away from us. In a moment where we need to communicate, get the word out, as I'm doing, that could be taken away. Perhaps the day will come where the internet or the government says enough. You're not exposing our plans, our agenda anymore. It's now been taken from you. Net neutrality. Online 33, like federal, like police. If you're wondering what this is, look down at your keyboard. Do you see a row that has those letters in it? It's your home row. If you took typing class, your fingers are supposed to rest there. ASDF with the left hand, you know, GHJKL with the other. You add those letters together, they sum to 33. That's known as the home row, the spine of the keyboard. In your own spine, you have 33 vertebrae, and it's coded right into the center of the keyboard. The full official name for the keyboard sums to 311. In numerology terms, that's 3 and 11. 3 times 11, 33. So, with regards to our spine and 33 and the internet, think about the way our body works. You know, the nervous system, this network. All working together, all this information being sent around, you know, so I can talk, move my hand, think, all part of this nervous system. Same thing going on in me, same thing going on inside you. Now imagine what the internet is. You know, all these people hooked up, all this information. Whoever has the control of that, whoever has the ability to see the net input, outputs of that, you know, they can see what we are doing as one big thing, you know, one giant interconnected nervous system of humanity. The word nervous has gematria of 33. 33 vertebrae, the spine, the center of the nervous system. This is what the powers that shouldn't be want. They want control, and the internet has given them even more control. You know, they got us all plugged in. As soon as they get a headline out or a story out, we've all got it. Before we had it on our TVs, before it got out fast enough, but boom, these days it's right here on our phone. You know? They got us all hooked up to the same information system, and at the same time, they're taking all of our collective information and seeing where the mind of the masses is. The word vertebrae, which we have 33 of, also sums to 42. You know, that special number. Just talking about that. Internet, computer, online. With regards to 33 vertebrae being in our back, people 33, person 33, society 33, order 33. Very special number for us humans. It was yesterday that our Congress approved this to make it for profit. And I imagine that Donald Trump is going to sign off on it today. We'll see. But I mean, it's the Republican Congress and Senate that put this on the president's desk. Donald Trump trying to build support with his Republican base. You know, he wants to repeal and replace Obamacare with pretty much the same thing, all part of the semantics of our fake political show. But anyway, signing off on this will get him more credit with his Republicans in Congress who made this a reality. Understand there's really no division between the Democrats and Republicans. If you've never seen my work on Washington, D.C., 47 is coded into the streets, the names, so many things. Notice Republicans, 47, just like Democrat, you know, just like authority, just like president, just like government, just like White House, just like Trump, who was in the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel the night of the election in Rockefeller Plaza. Special number. It's all a puppet show. The Democrats, Republicans, they're two sides of the same coin, serving the same Masonic Zionist New World Order agenda. With regards to internet and computer, I want you to notice the reverse ordinal gematria of 111 and the ordinal gematria of 111. That's the alphabetic order forwards, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, up to Z, 26, and reverse ordinal, vice versa. Z is 1, up to A is 26. Both of these forms, reverse ordinal and ordinal, have Sumerian gematria, which is where you multiply times 6. And that's where computer, the value becomes 666. You might have heard that Apple priced their first consumer computer at $666. You know, very first computer, $666. And as always, Truth Seeker, it's Wednesday night, which means I'll be on Truth Frequency Radio for 3 hours every Wednesday night, same place, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. to midnight if you're out east. If you missed the show live, you can always listen to the archived episode. Great program. We're going to focus tonight on the surveillance state, some of the other headlines going on. I know the men's tournament's on people's mind for college basketball. We can talk about that as well. But I'm hoping tonight the majority of callers will stick to the building police state and how we need to get out the word on what's going on in this world before, you know, we're officially silenced, before we no longer have the right to speak out and stand up for justice. You know, the window for justice is closing, truly. And it could still be a decade away, it could still be 20 years away until we're fully silenced. But let's stop it before we get there. Today's a warning. Until next time, Truth Seeker.